And welcome to another episode of the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast. I'm Taylor Phillips. He's Ed Smith. Gonna recap the Lions' stunning victory over the defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. We're gonna preview their home opener at Ford Field against the Seattle Seahawks and discuss some Mel Tucker stuff.
Yeah,
Very,
very eventful week and weekend of football news, notes, and scores, both on the field and unfortunately off the field. And it even culminated last night on Monday Night Football with Aaron Rodgers. My goodness. And then the
yeah.
game itself that followed.
Huh?
Craziness all around.
Yeah, Lewis and I are going to discuss that later tonight at midnight on True Sports episode 81,
Looking
my
forward to that.
national sports podcast. But this is the Michigan Sports Truth, so let's get to those Lions, shall we? They stunned the Chiefs 21-20 in Week 1 on Thursday Night Football NFL kickoff. The Chiefs played without Travis Kelce. Never underestimate Pat Mahomes, but the fake punt, the Lions on their second drive of the game, I think, carried the momentum, and they finished it with a touchdown catch and run by Amon-Ra St. Brown, the one they call the Sun God, to open the scoring. Pat Mahomes struck back with two touchdown throws to Rashee Rice and Blake Bell to put the Chiefs up 14-7. That would be the score at halftime. The pick six by Brian Branch early in the third tied it at 14. The Lions defense, led by Aiden Hutchinson, were doing a tremendous job as a whole, holding the Chiefs offense to just two field goals the entire second half, which put the Chiefs back up 20-14. Yes, the Lions had to play through some adversity. There were some missed holding calls that could have been called on the Chiefs. Aiden Hutchinson was being held multiple times. Got two holding penalties, better than one, I guess, but also some missed false starts that could have been called on Jawan Taylor. But the
Multiple.
Lions played through it.
Yes, and that's the key. That's the key. To be a good team, or to be a great team, or at the very least to be a good team in this league, you have to find ways to play through that and just do that. Get through that adversity and find a way
Yes.
to win.
Yes. And there were a few holding calls on the Chiefs defense that helped the Lions too. Don't forget.
Exactly. And it balanced
So
out. It balanced itself out. And let's not forget, on in regards to the subject of Jawan Taylor, who's to say that the Lions didn't let the refs know because the way he was lining up on the offensive line
oh,
gave
miscommunication
away.
on their part.
No. I'm saying they did that purposely because
Oh,
what
they did. Okay,
it
I'm sorry.
it may have given away. It tipped them off as to what kind of play that Kansas City was going to be running. What's going to be a run? What's going to be a pass? Because if you notice, they clamped down on KC's running game. It's where even though, yeah, Kansas City got some passes in the secondary. Granted, listen, this is Patrick Mahomes. He's at the peak of his prime, the peak of his power. He's gonna get his. He's gonna do whatever he does. It's gonna be maddening, but it's gonna work for him and him alone. So the fact that he was able to do all that and what topped out at maybe 250 yards, two touchdowns. That's it. And what? He threw his first ever interception in week one.
A pick six.
A pick six, nonetheless, to a rookie who was making his own NFL debut. Let's think about not only the multitudes of kind of impact that is, but for a rookie in your NFL debut to do that to the reigning MVP and Super Bowl MVP in his house on banner night, and also it did a multitude of things. It changed the momentum for sure. It gave the Lions that spark needed to let them know, hey, we can compete with these guys and we can beat these guys. And also for Brian Branch, it let the people know that, hey, whoever decided it was to let him fall to the second round, thank you. And whoever decided in Green Bay to want to trade with the Lions so we could get him, again, thank you. Because he not only showed off his awareness, his skills, general field vision, he also showed off his speed. I think a next gen stat showed his speed clocking out at about 20 miles per hour on that pick six. So it shows, yeah, for a guy like this, the Lions got an absolute steal. I mean, let's frankly, a rookie class down the line showed itself out. Okay, You had Sam Laporta making a couple of necessary plays and catches to move the line, move the change, and keep the drive going. He looked very comfortable, not just in the passing game, but most especially in the run blocking game when it was necessary, to whether it be setting up the touchdown run for David Montgomery or setting up that fourth, I think it was the 3rd and 2 or the 4th and 2, whether it was that final first down conversion that clinched in the game. Sam Laporta's run blocking was so crucial and necessary for the Lions on this night. So between him, Jack Campbell, already mentioned Brian Branch, Jack Campbell showing off his ability with a crucial pass breakup. I think it might have been on the 3rd down or so, but it stalled Kansas City's momentum, showing his instincts and quick trigger of the hips and getting that play done. And then let's get to the guy that I've been loving all year, Jahmyr Gibbs. He had himself quite an impactful debut, in my opinion, where it may not show too much in the score in the stat sheet. He only had 42 yards on the ground period, but it was how he used those yards, how he got those yards, and how he looked in general. Bouncing off tackles, refusing to go down, showcasing his speed on the edge. And frankly, if he did not slip and fall down on, I think it was like a play or two before the St. Brown touchdown, he had an easy walk-in score to the end zone. He just happened to slip because he had a guy dead to rights on the corner at an angle. He just slipped. But still, Jahmyr Gibbs, 60 all-purpose yards, 6 yards per carry, 6 broken tackles. He was the perfect complement. He showcased not only why the Lions wanted him, but he was the perfect complement to David Montgomery, who, in my opinion, was an absolute sledgehammer.
He made his presence known on the Lions offensive unit, scoring that game-winning touchdown and making the first down to seal it.
Yep. Trust me, each and every one of those 74 yards was earned and delivered and ran through, down down KC's throat and up their behinds all night long. Okay, between breaking their will at the time they needed most, and then just punishing him in short yardage situations in the red zone, which, in my opinion, I felt they got away from for the majority of the game. Ben Johnson, I think, needs to do a better job in terms of, I understand you want to get your game plan in, you want to get some of your nice plays in, but you got to sometimes read the room, read the flow of what's going on, and sometimes stick to what's working well. And for the most part, the Lions, with their running game, especially in short yard situations, it absolutely owned KC, and there was nothing that the Chiefs could do about it.
Yeah. Plus, Jared Goff threw 22 of 35 for 253 yards and 1 touchdown. Another 0 interception throw game by Goff.
Yeah, who, by the way, is slowly but surely climbing up the ranks for most consecutive passes thrown in NFL history without an interception. He's currently in 3rd place right now. I think it might have was Brady who held the record. Brady or Mahomes or Rodgers, one of those three has the record. But Goff is now in 3rd place. He's approaching that 400 straight passing plateau. I don't know if he's going to get that record, but it just shows efficiency, awareness, intelligence of what to do with the base, what to do with the football, not being so careless when throwing the ball. So that's quite smart and efficient decision making that Goff has provided over now, as we can see, spanning multiple seasons.
Yeah, the secondary defense had highs and lows. For example, the aforementioned pick 6 by Brian Branch. That was a pass breakup by C.J. Gardner-Johnson in the clutch. But Cam Sutton just had a rough night. He got called for pass interference. Yeah, gave up a touchdown too.
Yeah, the pass interference. I can understand why they called it, but he had no other choice on that. It was either that, or it was going to be a big completion, because that was a perfectly thrown ball by Mahomes downfield. There was nothing else you could do about that. It was just maybe come down to a matter of timing.
Couldn't quite catch up to
could catch up to him in time. But even like you mentioned, Sutton may have had an off night, the rest of the secondary stepped up, like Brian Branch, like C.J. Gardner-Johnson. And think about it, the defense in general was incredible. When you consider the fact that many people use that as one of the biggest reasons why we had that bad start and why we ultimately didn't make the playoffs, especially in the run game. To see them do this to the defending Super Bowl champions on banner night in their crib was spectacular. That was the reason why we won the game. Our defense won us that football game.
Yeah. Not to mention Kadarius Toney dropping way too many passes when he was
Yeah,
wide open.
yeah, especially when one of those drops led to the aforementioned Brian Branch touchdown. Listen, as a Lions fan,
One of them, yes.
there are certain blessings and liberties to where if you see an olive branch or you see, a penny or a manna from heaven drop for the moment, you take it and you don't apologize for it. And Kadarius Toney with the multiple drops he had, it was just penny gifts all night. There, the Lions happily took advantage of.
Yeah. And that drop by that one drop by Tony that led to the Branch pick six was not Mahomes' fault. Clearly, Tony has to catch that ball.
Yeah, but also Tony, I think he was kind of a little bit hesitant about wanting to catch that ball because he saw if he had caught that ball, Branch was going to light his ass up.
Yeah.
Because Branch was in the vicinity. Trust me, Branch. It showed on that next gen stats. He covered 62 yards of area and distance on that play because he started back. He went back about 5 or 10 yards or 5 yards or so, then came back at around the 50 where he made the play. If he had not made an interception, he was going to lay a vicious hit on Tony. I'm telling you right now, because we saw what he did in the preseason against the Giants. That would not have been pretty. So already Brian Branch is putting everyone on notice, hey, I'm coming for that Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. Valdez BTW wants to say hi. Yeah, welcome to the Michigan Sports Truth podcast in particular.
Hello, welcome, Valdez.
Yeah, back to the Lions Chiefs. Just a big win. They beat the defending Super Bowl champions. They overcame adversity. They made their plays, and they won. They're 1-0.
And it speaks in general in terms to a multitude of things. It starts and ends with the belief that they have in their head coach. Dan Campbell's confidence and also the confirmation of that confidence. The fact that he had the stones to go for a fake punt inside his own 20 on the second drive of the season. The fact that he must have instilled some type of meaning or direction in his team to let them know, listen, things may not always go to plan, maybe some things we have to fix up, but we're built for this. To quote him, we're built for this shit. And I think between responding to adversity, like you mentioned, that fumble by Marvin Jones, the penalties that they got in the second half, and not to mention that 4th and 2. I like the call. I like the decision to go for it. I hated the play call. I think you should have just ran for it. Goff just did not have a good moment there. But the defense stepped up one more time, and that's what Campbell was talking about.
Not to mention with another Tony drop. Yeah, not to mention with another Tony drop, but the defense stepped up. Otherwise,
yeah, yes. For sure. Listen, you take advantage of it. So this is the message that Dan Campbell's been trying to instill in this team, and you see it paying dividends. He's reaping the rewards, and you can see why. I would say, would he be? Is he not the betting favorite for coaching of the year before all this started?
Huh.
He wasn't before. He's got to be
nominated.
Now.
Yeah, he's been nominated early.
In terms of betting favorites from Vegas.
Oh yeah, there's that at least.
That's what I was referring to.
Yeah, and speaking of which, the Lions are now 6-point favorites against their next opponent in their home opener at Ford Field, the Seattle Seahawks. Lions -6. That game kicks off at 1 on Sunday on Fox. The Seattle Seahawks lost to the Los Angeles Rams, led by Matthew Stafford, 30-13 at home in Seattle, at what I believe is still Quest Field.
They might have changed the name, but yeah.
Yeah. The Seahawks' third down efficiency on both sides of the ball were freaking awful, especially on offense. 2 for 9 on offense. Not to mention the penalties, such as the taunting on DK Metcalf and unnecessary roughness away from one play on Quandre Diggs, a former Lion. So
that surprised me. That surprised me about Quandre. That surprises me.
Yeah, both Rams and Seahawks played without their injured players, but one noted injury that for the Seahawks that I like to mention, cornerback Devon Witherspoon. He's
Yep.
still trying to recover from a hamstring injury. He's still possibly questionable heading into Sunday's game in Detroit.
Let's not forget there was a slight possibility that had Seattle not taken him at 5, there was a chance that the Lions could have taken him at number 6. He was that high on their board. He was that high in their intrigue. Obviously, Jameer Gibbs was still their top priority, but if there was a chance where they could have taken him at 6, knowing that they still would probably make the deal to do whatever they can to get Jameer, the Lions probably could have taken Devin Witherspoon had the Seahawks not taken him. So that's interesting to work the note to point him out. Not to mention injuries. I believe both their starting offensive tackles suffered injuries last week against the Rams. It's gotten to the point where they had to sign 41-year-old Jason Peters, from who used to play for the Niners. They signed him this week. Basically brought him off the couch. Good luck trying to deal with Aiden Hutchinson. Going to be looking to get some sacks in this game after getting 0 last week. And Aiden, even though he didn't get didn't get a sack himself, he had himself quite a game. Let's not forget, in all the midst of this hoopla, let's not forget about one of the best reasons why this game was won. It was Aiden Hutchinson with 8 pressures, with 3 hits on Mahomes, rushing and hurrying the quarterback at least 4 times or so, getting 7 total tackles in the game, and going through withholding all that help, that holding, and all the tactics by Jawan Taylor and everything else. To me, between overcoming the adversity throughout the game and finishing it like we did, the way we did at Lambeau, and finishing it here in Kansas City. Listen, all due respect in the world to Mike Tirico, but you can take that asterisk mark and shove it. Because no, the Chiefs did not have Chris Jones. No, they did not have Travis Kelce. But guess what? We didn't have Jameson Williams. All right. And it showed in the way how
We won without him.
And how Marvin Jones was playing. So, yeah, in my opinion, I consider that fair ground.
Yeah, Mike Tirico, yeah, just an honest mistake there.
Well, at least he owned up to it.
Yep, he did. So,
do we have well, first let's get your scoring prediction before I give mine.
I'm gonna say Lions 28, Seahawks 21.
Okay, well, here's my factors of this. Knowing that this is the home opener, knowing that the crowd is going to be pumped up, as if they weren't already going into before last week, knowing that the offense is going to be looking to make some improvements for this week, as in scoring some more touchdowns, finishing more drives more efficiently, less mistakes, and knowing that this is a revenge game for last year, I'm expecting the Lions to show out. I knew the early look prediction, well, not early prediction, but early look score initially was potentially Lions -3. It opened, now I believe it was Lions 5.5.5. Now it's Lions -6. Vegas is telling you something. It's telling you that the Lions are going to open up their home schedule with a very comfortable win. In my opinion, they know the crowd is going to be a factor, plus the other tangibles that I've mentioned before. The only thing that would concern me for the Lions is knowing for the fact that you are going to be facing a team that is going to have more of their weapons compared to what Kansas City had when they played you. They're going to have DK Metcalf, they're going to have Kenneth Walker, and they're going to have Jackson Smith and Jigba. Now, it's up to you as to whether or not, knowing that if you can get through their battered O-line and get Geno Smith to say, oh my God, the way Aaron Donald had him saying, oh my God, last week, then you're good. But if not, you're going to be in a much tighter game than expected. That being said, I say the Lions will do enough. They'll score enough points. And if need be, they'll pull away late to get one last score. Final score, Detroit 34, Seattle 24.
Okay, Lions by 10. Either way, both
they win.
Scoring predictions.
They win, they cover, and they go 2-0 to start the season. You can't ask for anything better than that. And likely they're going to be in for at the very least tied for first place as well, because you don't know what Green Bay is going to be doing.
Yep, but hey, that's what we both say. They win and they cover. Yep. I picked them by 7. You picked them by 10. The line is -6. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Now for the developing story, unless you have anything else to add.
No, that pretty much all I can think of in terms of my thoughts on the Lions for this week.
Yep. Michigan State Spartans football head coach Mel Tucker was investigated for sexual harassment last week, and now we learned that he's suspended without pay. First, it was unconfirmed that he was fired in between, but now he's suspended, just pending further investigation. The investigation had to be complete. It took so much work between Mel Tucker, for the investigators to look at what happened between Mel Tucker and the woman that he
The
uh,
accuser.
met, the accuser that was also a victim, a past victim, mind you,
Mm-hmm.
and she appeared to be victimized again. This time by Mel Tucker. Why does this keep happening at Michigan State University by those people? That's my question. That's my main question. It just keeps happening in East Lansing.
And
It's
this
crazy
in
and
this
terrible.
instance, and it is a horrible and awful situation, no matter how you look at it. And in this regards, I can't necessarily blame the school. It's unfortunate in terms of the timing of it, and also the setting and the location of it. But I can't necessarily blame the school because they followed everything that they could have done on their end to the letter of the law, crossing every T. Remember, this is a Title IX investigation. So certain
Yep.
liberties or certain exclusive, certain perks that the university could have, they were limited to and finding out. So
They did
there's a
the right
reason.
thing.
Yeah, exactly. There's a reason why they found out as long as they, when they did it and how they did. Trust me, it's not like they purposely were doing this just to sweep this under the rug. No,
No,
they
no,
did.
no.
Just like, unfortunately, they can't really rush to judgment in terms of giving that final determination of or declaring, yep, you're fired, Mel. They got to still go through this process, go through this discipline, go through this hearing next month, and also potential negotiations with Mel Tucker's camp, with Mel Tucker's side of things, especially with regards to Tucker's response, at least through his lawyer, in response to these allegations.
Yeah. So yeah, Mel Tucker, having denied all those allegations, is the
He
only
denied.
person on earth to blame.
Listen, we can no, no. We must clarify. He denied that he of what he's accused of doing to Miss Tracy. Brenda Tracy is her name, by the way. Since she's the one who filed the complaint, she did take that risk of putting information out there. So should be noted who is accusing Mel Tucker in this situation. Um, Mel Tucker did admit to the act, and which should be what's the word I'm looking for? Discretionary with what we're describing, but essentially he was masturbating while on the phone in a conversation with Tracy. So that is the main core, the main
That's phone
crux.
sex.
Yeah, main crux of this issue. And
Oh,
I'll just say this: no matter whose side you believe in this equation, whether you believe that Tucker is guilty or innocent, that is not for me to decide on ultimately at the end of the day, and that's not for me to decide on right here and now. I'll let whatever comes out in terms of evidence and whatnot. I'll let that decide. I'll look at that before I decide my opinion. But what I can say for the optics, and timing and everything else, in Mel Tucker's case, this was stupid, selfish, idiotic, disgraceful,
all right.
and downright disrespectful on so many different levels. If you want to get your jocks off to a woman, you know, you're more than welcome to that right. I'm not blaming you for that. What I'm saying is, why would you pick this woman with the situation and everything that she's regarded? Why did you seek her out? Why did you sort her out? Especially when what she is a vendor. She was hired by the university to what help you talk to your players, supposedly teach them on what not to do. And you're supposed to be showing the lead example and you're not following it? No. You violated the morality clause of your contract, thus you're giving the school the proper term. What? Just cause to fire your ass. Trust me, I know. I've been paying attention to the CM Punk situation with AAW. It's called, if you give them a justifiable reason or just cause reason to fire you, they will do that. Now, MSU, they can't necessarily go through that yet because, again, it's just still the matter of figuring out if how much, if any, that Mel Tucker is going to get out of his money at this point. In my opinion, I doubt he'll get anything. He'll be lucky to get anything, but it just speaks to so many horrible optics that we'll go through in terms of men in power, power in general. Um, this whole issue again between the elements of what we saw with Ime Udoka and also the issue of, with Danny Masterson in terms of people in power believing they are above accountability, they're above the law, they're above whatever rule is supposedly set for them, and we see it again in this case. Now,
Yeah.
thankfully, Mel Tucker is going to be paying the consequences of his actions one way or another. He is almost for surely going to lose his job because of this, and if anything, and also his reputation. And in my opinion, it's a well deserved end because you let the university know who your true character is and who you truly are. And frankly, if that's the case, you do not deserve to be leading this team, these players, these young men in any type of capacity or shape whatsoever. So
Yeah.
the sooner they can get rid of them, the better. Because if you're a Spartan, you're beyond sick of this shit. It's time for a reset in so many ways.
Yeah. But still, I wouldn't rush it. You have to complete the rest of the investigation
Oh,
thoroughly at
of
the same
course,
time.
of course. Unfortunately, no matter how long this is going to take out, this is going to take. You have to go. You have to what? Do your due diligence and go through the proper process. Especially
Yep.
again, like I said, Tucker may and his crew maybe want to go enter some type of negotiation on some type of buyout or whatever. So you got to be prepared for that side of things too. Especially if you read the comments that Mel Tucker himself gave in response to the allegations, saying that this hearing next month is a sham. He potentially wanted to introduce elements of saying, "Hey, maybe they want to use my race as an excuse to get rid of me," or they, or saying, or basically implying that there was some kind of setup or conspiracy against him because people or forces at the school didn't like his contract or whatever the case may be. But dude, if you're resorting to this type of tactic of a response after already admitting, "Oh yeah, I did do the deed. I didn't do the crime, but I did do the deed." No, dude, it's just stop it. You're only going to be digging a further hole for yourself at this point. And I get it. You don't want to be seen as a predator, fine, but you are going to be seen as someone who can't be trusted with power. Period. And you'll be lucky if anybody's going to feel sorry or feel sympathetic to give your ass a job at any type of field of capacity in college football ever again after this.
Right.
And
And this
trust
is
me. And by the way, listen, this is not me trying to be the Wolverine ducking on the Spartan. This is not the
no
type. This is not
more
some B.
important than
This is
a
not some
rivalry.
BS rivalry shtick. Okay, I was just as disappointed as I was with, but righteously disavowing of Michigan of how they handled the Bo Schembechler situation. And and the details that I knew of the was it the Brendan Gibbons situation. Trust me, I was very disappointed with the school how they handled that. So trust me, I have no problem criticizing Michigan when it comes to matters such as this.
Yeah. And again, this is developing, so we're going to keep our eyes on this whole thing. It's going to keep developing. The hearing is going to be in early October. That's next month.
Yeah,
That's less than a full month away from
that's the
this point.
currently scheduled meeting, but we'll see how things can change between now and then. Especially if we hear if more public pressure continues to swell and grow.
Yep. So, what all did we learn tonight?
Well, it's simple. We learned that the Detroit Lions, they are here, they have arrived, they are for real, and they're ready to show that they are indeed worth the hype. And what we learned in terms of the Mel Tucker situation, that hey, Michigan State, this is a chance to do a full total reset, reboot, uh, go ground zero on everything, and try to start fresh as possible. Now, I know you're bringing in some type of transition in a way. You know, you're going to have your interim coach serve things out. Mark D'Antonio is going to be coming back to the program to serve as an
Oh,
advisory head coach. Now, you'd hoping this will be more, you know, Benny Alvarez. Then
D'Antonio resigned
yeah,
previously. I think
exactly,
it
and
was a
he
forced resignation, I think.
none. I don't know how exactly if it was forced or not. I just know that out of the nowhere, D'Antonio just resigned, and the manner that he had resigned, it was not welcomed warmly by some in Spartan Nation. I'll just say that. And what it was, he was immediately success by Tucker, and we see how it's basically come full circle. But I'm sure after the situation with Tucker, there's a lot of Spartan Nation that's very, very happy to see Coach D come back. Now, if this is going to be more Vinny Alvarez or this is going to be Bud Grant, that's still yet to be seen. But if you're Michigan State, you're going to try have to use this as motivating fuel to have as good a remainder rest of your season as you possibly can. Because guess what? Vegas already had the over under for you set at 5.5 wins, and we're charging so many people to bet the under. They must have known about this as well, and now you can see why some people will probably be taking, if they are going to be taking those bets, it's for good reason. Try to see if you can prove them wrong. Can you get the 6 wins, maybe 7, and see how you do against Michigan? That's all. That's all you can hope for at this point if you're MSU.
Yeah, I think Michigan's going to beat Michigan State anyway. To be honest.
I will say I'm expecting.
Aside from
I will expect a Michigan win, but I will not expect a blowout. That's all I will say. That's all I will say for now. But as we get closer to the game, as we if I see how certain teams or how the teams may look at certain stages or certain points, there's also other intangibles and X factors as well. Then I'll let you know if there's an update in terms of how I feel about that game in general for no matter what side it swings.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that stuff too. So that is all of what we've learned on this installment of the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast. Special thanks to everyone that watched live. I'm Taylor Phillips. He's Ed Smith. Follow the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast on X and Instagram at Michigan_Truth and like its Facebook page. Subscribe to its YouTube channel at the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast. Like our videos and turn on all notifications on the bell icon. Follow it and listen to it in audio form on Spreaker. Follow me on X, TikTok, and Instagram at DT2Phillips. Subscribe to my YouTube channel at DT2Phillips. Also on Twitch, DT2Phillips1984. Follow Ed Smith on X, Instagram, Twitch, and on YouTube at EdSmith313. Special shout-outs, business shout-outs go to Athletico Physical Therapy on Woodward and Ferndale. Cali Tickets, call Mark Goldman at 877-225-8425 or visit CaliTickets.com. Creative Embroidery of Cadillac for designing the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast on my long sleeve t-shirt and t-shirt, Michigan Sports Truth Podcast logo on each of them. Cuts by Melanie in Lake City. Let's Roll With It rolled ice cream in Cadillac, now branded with the Food Mafia. Follow them on TikTok. Follow them on TikTok at the Food Mafia LLC. Northern Star Event Rentals in Cadillac, 231-884-8195, and on Facebook. And United Food Service Solutions of Grand Ledge, Michigan. Until next week, Monday at 10:30 when we recap Lions and Seahawks. For Ed Smith, I'm Taylor Phillips. Stay on the lookout, everyone, because we observe Michigan sports and we detect the truth. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Go Lions and go Blue.
One pride.